If you're a fan of the pop songs from the 1950s and 60s, you'll love the off-Broadway musical comedy, The Marvelous Wonderettes.
The show tells the story, paying homage to the high school song leader squads from the 1950s. Our Michael Bruno donned his hoop skirt to check out the Palace Theater's production of The Marvelous Wonderettes.
Back together for the first time in 10 years. Wow, can you believe it's been that long? Please welcome back your very own Marvelous Wonderettes.
It's somewhat of a bubblegum musical in a sense, mostly the first act where you really see stereotypes very clearly stated with the women, which then you really see their real struggles and their actual humanity when they're coming back and they've gone through a lot of experiences just in 10 years that can really change a person.
Susie is a senior in high school. She just got pinned by her boyfriend Richie a month ago, and she dedicates her songs to him, and she's just happy-go-lucky song leader, loves to blow bubbles.
Missy Miller is your stereotypical nerd girl. She's on every committee, you know, she's on the student council, she is on the song leader team, and she is not just on it, she is captain and choreographer, and she made everybody's dresses, and she's on the highway beautification committee. I mean, clubs I didn't know existed, this girl is on.
It's her birthday during the prom. She's newly 17 years old, and she is the class clown. She's a little bit of a tomboy. She's not used to wearing dresses and heels, but she's ready for it.
She is your quintessential prom queen candidate. She is all about herself type of female. It doesn't seem that she has a lot of regard for her other classmates, her other female classmates, especially even in their group together. It's all about winning at the expense of anyone else.
And she actually kind of gets into it with one of the other girls in the show.
She does. She has a little bit of a tough time with her friend, her best friend, Cindy Lou. She finds out that her boyfriend's been cheating on her with her friend, so they are kind of battling it out throughout the whole show, really.
And then what happens to her in the 60s when we come back in the second act for the 10-year reunion?
So in the 60s, I like to think she has relaxed a little bit. She's gone off to teacher's college. She's come back. She subbed at her old high school first, and now she's an elementary school art teacher in her hometown. And she might have had a little crush on a teacher back in the day. And in the second act, we learned that has progressed a little bit.
So she has a new perspective of how she treated her friends, especially her best friend, Betty Jean, in high school. She wants to rectify the situation.
In the second act, we come back and we find out that she's married her high school boyfriend, the one who cheated on her, but things are not so good. Things are tough with her marriage. She's still being cheated on. She still hasn't repaired her relationship with her best friend from high school, so she's a little bit lonely.
Susie and Richie have gotten married right after they graduated high school. Susie's now pregnant, which is a whole feat in itself. It's hilarious. And there's some problems in the marriage, but they do resolve them in the end.
Some great music.
Great songs.
I had grown my poodle skirt on. I feel so out of place today.
Now, as like the program, you can vote for. I mean, there's a little audience interaction.
There's a little audience participation. They actually, the girls go out into the audience, and you have to vote for the prom queen. And then obviously, she is one of the girls is dating Mr. Lee. So they do the whole song Mr. Lee. So they work the songs around the characters' names, and then that's their boyfriends, the people they're dating, and people that they sing to. So that's how the book of the musical kind of takes place. Because the first act is the 50s. 1958 is their prom. And the second act, they come back 10 years later at their 1968 high school reunion.
Oh,
and you see that she is in a family way 10 years later.
But it looks like a lot of fun.
It is. It's all the songs, you know, all those girl group songs you know from the 50s and 60s.
I was just going to say that. Would people recognize the music?
Absolutely. It's Sincerely and Mr. Postman and Mr. Lee and Heat Wave. It's all those great girl group songs. So it's a really fun trip down memory lane.
And they bought the rights to them, so that's good.
Yes. Unlike Sister Act, they have the real songs from the recording on.
Marvelous Wonderettes at the Palace Theater in the Dells. Now through February 25th, go to dellspalace.tix.com. And next week?
Next week, it's Wisconsin Opera's production of La Boheme.
Oh.
Tragedy, drama, death. UW Theater. Yeah. UW Opera.
UW
Opera.
At the Union.
Opera. At the Union Theater.
We'll
see you later.
Hopefully, we'll end up at the right spot. We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast.